Hello, everyone, welcome back to the Collegiate Call of Duty League. Again, here in the winners semifinal, we will be starting things off for the first rip here as CCL Emerald, the team hailing out of Florida State, will be going up against Ole Miss Esports. Both these teams have been enjoying themselves in the top 5 of the power rankings from our team captains' perspectives for the majority of the season. Here they'll meet up to see who goes up against Humber in the winners finals and who has to slip down into the losers bracket. But again, both teams here essentially securing themselves a top 6 spot. Not a bad look at all for either of these teams, but Emerald, the undefeated squad, obviously wanted to continue that here against Ole Miss, as we will be diving in very quickly to take a look at the CCL Emerald squad. That banner looks so dope. We will have Joppo, Sammy K, Nolzy, Zolty, and Clay Crimson. Again, all of them enjoying relatively nice KDs as well. All of them above 1.3.
Yeah, what can you say about the CCL Emerald squad, right? They went the perfect 23-0. They've won their first 2 matchups on that 25-game win streak. They just play the game right. That's all I can say. They just have absolutely fried everybody, and it doesn't seem like anybody other than Liberty Red so far has been able to even come close. You know, maybe that Liberty Red matchup was just a little sign of weakness for them, but either way, it's going to be a tough matchup for Ole Miss nonetheless.
But if there was a team to potentially take down CCL Emerald, I have a lot of faith that it could potentially come down to this Ole Miss team who has looked very, very good. Again, Liberty Red also able to take Emerald to a Game 5, not once, but twice. One of them happening in the first round for Emerald. Well, I guess it would technically be winners round 2 before Liberty fell and then would actually lose out in the bracket, having lost a 3-0 to Cincinnati in losers round 1. But again, this Emerald team has shown some vulnerabilities. And for a squad like Ole Miss that has looked very solid in the last couple of weeks of the regular season, actually throughout the entirety of the regular season, there's definitely a squad here that could potentially find the first loss to CCL Emerald's totals. But it will be easier said than done. Here is that look of Ole Miss. The number 5 seed overall. It consists of Little Physics, Armstrong, Ryan Slacky, Poner, and Mensa. Again, take a look at those KDs. All of them also over the 1.3.
Yeah, and Poner just 2.17. I believe that's number 1 overall KD in the CCL this season. Poner just been absolutely frying. One thing I really like to look out on this Ole Miss squad, they have incredible SAW gameplay, but it's the Slacky Poner duo that everybody seems to talk about. These two just absolutely incredible at slaying, absolutely incredible at the OBJ work, and when they put that together, combined with the SMG prowess of Physics, this team is tough to beat. You know, even though they took a loss to Ohio State this past Thursday, I talked to Physics a little bit afterward, and he said, you know, that wasn't our series. We just weren't playing well. You know, Mensa didn't have the greatest series of his life, and, it just didn't go their way. He's assured me they've been putting in the time and effort coming into playoffs, and so far it's looked pretty good. You know, a convincing series over Butler 3-1. The Game 5 against Toronto victory, and now they find themselves up against the undefeated Emerald.
Well, the thing about that Toronto set, which is most interesting to me, was how back and forth that set was. As Toronto started things off, the 250-64, Ole Miss with the 6-2 win on Search, a 3-0 in control for Toronto. It was just very back and forth, dominating each other's maps. And maybe there's something to do with trying to connect from Ole Miss all the way up to Toronto. But here, it won't be any easier as you'll be connecting from Florida to Toronto, to Mississippi. So not exactly the furthest of schools away from each other, so maybe a little bit of differentials. We'll take a look to see what we'll be dealing with for the maps. We'll start things off on Hacienda Hardpoint, followed by 3 straight Arsenals. And if we get there, it'll be the Frequency to finish things off in map 5.
And the one thing to note on, the first 3 maps, they're all AR-heavy maps. I'm looking for the 1v1 between Zolty and R-Strong. R-Strong definitely didn't have a good showing on that Thursday night. Advisor TV, one of the better ICRs, able to shut him down here, and it's on to Armstrong, basically, in my opinion, if they're going to be able to take this map.
Well, it'll be interesting. Again, you can also see a lot of instances where that SMG gameplay comes in, and Emerald has looked really solid up front. It just comes down to, again, who's going to be able to start things off strongly as we dive on into the map. Here is Armstrong, like you mentioned, up front, able to win the first battle versus Crimson. Will retrain his aim. That's nicely found, but Joppo pushes forward, able to find himself 2 straight beatdowns. Physics and the rest of the gang will turn around for him. But again, this first 50-50 point, we very rarely see a lot of significant capture percentage going in here, but Ole Miss will start things off with a little bit of points accumulating for them off the rip.
Yeah, we always talk about how this first hill, it isn't about scoring. It's more so about getting map position. And right now, Ole Miss definitely has the preferred side. And Armstrong lighting it up. That's a big 2-piece. against the Maddox at that range, that's absolutely incredible. And you look at the players of Emerald, they're going to be trying to rotate through, but number 3, Mensa, he's got a tall task ahead of him. There's going to be one player in the back, and I'm not sure he's aware that they're there trying to hold down spots. He's going to spot 2 of them. Wise is going to back up, called it out to his teammates, and Ole Miss, 34 points off that first hill is not too shabby.
Slacky's here to help. Nice little contest from Mensa, able to help out as well. So the anchor will come through for the spawns, at least for now. One more hit coming from those sidewell areas for Emerald. They need to hold on to this. Do Ole Miss. Again, you mentioned it. Enjoying a significant lead, now 40+0. And Ole Miss is doing a nice job of holding down to the point, but also a little bit of distraction from the front. Sammy able to clean up 2. Joppo and Zolti able to get involved, so now it's just up to Poner to stay alive for as long as possible. Last player here will continue to try to dance around the land, but will eventually be taken down. Emerald flooding into the hill, but they do not have the spawns in their control. And it looks like Ole Miss will be able to hit from the back once again. And wow, Mensa able to come in through the side door for 1, looking for the second, trying to turn, but Zolti will shut him down. And it looks like with that, Emerald will hold on to the point, very desperately needing it, as they will try to get closer to that 30-point mark.
Yeah, and I really like this hit out of Ole Miss. There's going to be 3 players here. They're just hitting the front. One player, Clay Crimson, is trying to hold out the push. That's a second on the Joppo. Slacky should never be able to win that. He snaps on the Joppo, takes him off the heady, and Ole Miss should have the early time. They all looks like they have the spawns, as it looks like Emerald spawning that back fence area, and Slacky not aware of this at the moment.
Seeing a couple trades happening over the middle portion of the map. One of those actually happening in the back where the spawns will be important. Nicely shot for Crimson. Maddox able to find himself 2. One of them a little bit more of an ambitious, as we will actually catch this again on the rotation. What happens from here, as it's all over the place for Ole Miss. You got people over the middle, you got people over the side. Meanwhile, Zolti's in the hill just cleaning up from every single angle. He's got himself full streaks now, as he's enjoying himself on 5 straight. This life, it will be shut down as the concussion comes through, though. Crimson able to help clean things up, and you can just see where the pre-shots are coming from. It's just chaos of a setup for Ole Miss. Not 100% sure how they want to approach this as Emerald, but they still hold on to the point, and they will be able to get up to that 67 mark and surpass it if they hold on to full time. On the rotation, Zolti able to find the first kill. This is a very pivotal moment here for Emerald if they want to find a significant lead, or for Ole Miss, you need to be able to regain, because this last hill did not go in their favor whatsoever.
Yeah, and right now Emerald definitely has 3. Zolti is going to be able to call one of them in. It's going to be able to find one on the Poner, but Physics picking up a big 2-piece right there to maybe stabilize a little bit for his team. Mensa coming up out of water, going to find one. There's one player left. It's a 1v1 between Mensa and I believe Clay Crimson. Either way, the Tempest does get popped for Ole Miss. Slacky gets it so early in the game, it didn't even seem like Emerald was ready for it.
He does connect with one before he falls, so Physics will clean it up, but Physics has to recontest through that small side door, and he gets shut down very quickly. Emerald with the retake, looking to come back in. I like the call to use the Tempest early. It's very early on in the game, like you mentioned. You'll probably earn yourself a second one if you can keep playing the way you are if you're Slacky, which you can see he is absolutely on fire so far. 2 more this life. Looking for his 3rd, we'll actually find that as well. Emerald does get broken for the scrap time, but again, that was a 50-50 hill. Ole Miss not going to be able to quite touch the 100-point mark, but now looking to control the upper areas. They could absolutely take a significant lead if they find some early time here on our second rotation.
Yeah, and if we take a look at the SOG players, right? Physics opting to pull out the Maddox. This is one thing he's talked a lot about, just having the comfort to, when do I put the SOG down and when do I pull out a Maddox in this situation? He was 3-8 at one point with the Maddox, now 7-11, or 3-8 with the SOG, now 7-11 with the Maddox. Joppo, on the other hand, 7-9 with that SOG. Not doing as much work as he normally does with it.
Emerald, though, having a really successful play here over the middle, as they actually are the first team to hit 100, doing a really good job of just running around the point was Joppo for a while. Slacky finally taking him down. But again, able to put themselves in the lead for now. Now on the rotation, there is one player soaking up time from this middle hill. That is Mensa. But in the back, Emerald able to take over the spawns for where our next hill will be. And actually, it will be Sammy moving forward to take the little bit of scrap time. So essentially an even game as we hit here to the final Lambo Hill. Well, maybe the final Lambo Hill. War Machine Pop Tech 5 also popped. It's going to be very successful for Sammy to at least zone players away, though he's not finding a lot of kills. Slacky from behind will try to find one from the anchor spot, but does get taken down. So now Emerald with a chance to significantly pull ahead. This is the biggest lead they've enjoyed so far at nearly a 30-point lead.
Yeah, and Ole Miss just doing everything they can to break in. That's a nice pair of kills right there, but still, it should be able to get them in. However, Emerald still does have the spawns at this moment. One big 1v1 gunfight. Joppo to pick up against Physics. Even though Ole Miss does have the time for the moment, should be able to get a flood in, but Ole Miss doing an excellent job of backing it off, and Slacky Poner duo doing it all. And
wow.
That's tough if you're Emerald. You know, you have the spawns. You should have been able to break in. Unfortunately, not able to do so.
You called it out to begin the broadcast. Slacky and Poner, 2 players to keep an eye on for Ole Miss, showing up here now are strong. You also talked about his ICR gameplay, finding one, looking for the shots through the fence line, not able to track him as he went prone. This is another opponent that's an Olsey. Now finally Joppo going to contest, but it's actually Sammy from behind. It's able to help things out, and well, it looks like Emerald will hold on to this first little bit of time. Ole Miss trying to flood from the patio area. We'll also try to hit the back spawns as well. Poner here with the cluster, but getting absolutely pieced around from that stone wall. Up close and personal, beat down good for Poner. They return back with 1, but again, Emerald still in control of the hill for a small time, but those spawns just too powerful for Ole Miss. The proximity is good. Off the respawn, they're able to at least find some contest time, but not quite able to fully flip the hill. They're still fighting for it, and well, Emerald's actually kind of winning the trades at the moment. It's going to come down to Poner to stay alive and try to find this last kill. The beatdown's good, and Ole Miss will finally break through and get themselves the scrap time. It'll put this game a little bit more closer to contest as we head over to the Rock.
Yeah, and Armstrong's on for the rotation. He's able to find one with the Icer. He knows there's one more. They're going to come in behind him. That's a big kill onto Clay Crimson. Unfortunately, gets shut down by the player at this Lambeau Hill. Sammy K going to take out Physics, and will look like the rotation should have been there for Ole Miss. Is actually going to end up being there. I really like this fight. Opponents pop the War Machine right away and be able to zone out the players. Regardless of getting the kills, they have to respect that the War Machine is out, and that buys them so much room.
Well, they avoid the Hellstorm, which is really important for Ole Miss. Now Poner dealing with some flak jacket in front of him, does get shut down by Joppo. Good contest from him as Emerald is flooding through the middle portion of the map. Tempest does get popped again for Slacky. He puts 3 on their backs, and Physics is there to help clean up. 4 go down, looking for the 5th. Oh, what a play there from both Physics and Slacky, taking full advantage of Slacky's insane game. He finds himself full streaks on his 2nd Tempest of the game, and we're still only looking at a 160 to 165 game. Imagine a world in this new specialist pacing change where Slacky finds himself 3 Tempests. He's absolutely on a tear, nearly already at 50 engagements on the map.
He's 31 and 18 shift, and that's not EK, that's actual kills. The man is just running all around the map, finding engagements like you said. So you got to find an answer to Slack. He's got 2 streaks, which are very important, especially on a map like Hacienda, where a couple of the hills are just right outside and right for the Hellstorm and the Lightning Strike to take care of, you know, the other team.
Well, look at the resiliency from Emerald, not going away. Even though Slacky's having himself an incredible game, everybody from Emerald is still fighting in this very strongly. Meanwhile, Physics is kind of the low man on the totem pole at 11 and 23. There's really nobody significantly down in the kill-death ratio for Emerald, and that's why they're staying in this. A tie game as we get to our 3rd rotation, and Physics will jump in. A big fight here with Joppo. Will take down the 1st. There's one player up top just above him, that's Nolsey, who's able to take him down, but he does get traded, so now Poner will dive onto the hill, and this will be at least a little bit of time for Ole Miss before Emerald can contest if they want to. There are 2 players over the middle fighting for this secret doorway. Sammy will be able to take down Mensa, and now all of a sudden Emerald with the spawns looking to bounce back on this Lambeau Hill.
Yeah, the tag 5 is going to get invested right there. Nolsey and Joppo taking wise advantage of it. And Nolsey just going to try to post up with this ICR. It is going to be contesting a shot in the back, and Ole Miss is going to break through right away. This is big. If Armstrong's able to get a couple of these kills in the back, it might be able to force him out. Slacky's Hellstorm is going to find 2. This is huge right now for Ole Miss.
It was 2 from the back as well, so now you get some information that the spawns will likely be coming out from the fence area, which is where it's coming. Sammy with 2 more. He's looking to enter. He's got Zolty in support. Sammy does get taken down again. It's Slacky, who continues to find kills everywhere. Goodness,
whoa.
He's on 7 straight again. He's 40 and 19. This is absolutely an incredible performance from Slacky, and even still, it's barely even a 40-point lead so far for Ole Miss. Emerald will be on the rotation for this next hill, so they're going to give up the 20 seconds. This is win condition on this next hill for Ole Miss.
Yeah, and Mensa is going to pop that vision pulse, hopefully give him a couple kills in rotation. That's 3. This is a big gunfight for Poner. He's able to take out Zold. He actually is going to force him to spawn out Old. That's a big one right there. Armstrong finds a pair of streaks for himself. Ole Miss going to break through, and if they're able to hold on, they're going to win right here, Shift.
Emerald spawning all the way out by Old. They do win 2 kills over the middle by this connector, so they can flood, which is the exact strategy they're going to be utilizing here. Physics, you can see it. He wants to use this grab slam, but Armstrong will take down 2 with the Hellstorm. There are no more score streaks available for Ole Miss, but Physics can hold this front door down with this grab slam, and I don't know if anyone's going to be able to touch in time. A very wise grapple coming in from Physics. He's able to win a nice fight versus Crimson. Sammy also getting taken down. There's the 250. Emerald not quite able to get the job done here. Ole Miss just too strong from Slacky, and the rest of the game really actually also providing a lot of support near the end, which is why they were able to come through and get that little bit of an extended lead in the end game. And wow, what an absolutely incredible game from Ole Miss.
That was crazy right there. Physics able to pick it up near the end, and that's what I really believe is able to extend the lead, other than the fact that Slacky was just playing out of his mind. I need to see what his EKA was, because I think he ended up like 43 and 17 along those lines. If those were just, normal kills deaths, I wonder what his EKA was, because it must have been something ridiculous.
I'm terrified. This number is going to be massive. Damage-wise, EKA-wise, it's going to be possibly one of the best performances we've seen. 7,400 damage, 58 in 20. What?
Dude, all you can do is laugh at that point. That's all you can do. Slacky going big. If you're Emerald,
he was on pace. If that game goes further, if Emerald is able to put together a couple of hills potentially, that's on pace to potentially be a 100 kill or 100 engagement game for him.
That is
easily a 100 engagement game if that game goes a little bit further. But how do you make that game go any further if you're Emerald going up against that monster of a man?
Yeah, I'm gonna harken back to week 1. Slacky put him in the Jansport, and able to, it's not like the rest of his team was having, subpar performances aside from Physics, but still, 58 and 20 is unheard of. Slacky was just finding 2-piece after 2-piece after 2-piece. He's able to get himself, 4 streaks that game. 2, and I believe he was just a little bit away from getting a 3rd Tempest there at the end. That's unheard of.
I mean, if you're feeling the hot hand, this is why I really enjoyed the fact that Slacky was able to pull out the Tempest so early. Just because, again, if you just wait for the perfect moment, sometimes that perfect moment never comes, and you lose opportunities to generate more of that kind of that power spike and having your specialist available. So I was really happy with the play to utilize it. And like you mentioned, almost finding himself a 3rd charge on the Tempest is absolutely insane since the changes where you no longer generate the specialist charge over time. But a 250 to 173 will how this one will end. And what a convincing start, though, for Ole Miss. We'll be heading over to that nice solid block of Arsenal to continue on with the set. Search and Destroy will obviously be up next.
Yeah. Sheesh. If Slacky is shooting like that with an ICR, these next 3 maps are going to be so difficult for Emerald. I talked about Armstrong before, right? Armstrong had a great game, but that was the Slacky show right there. And really,
100%.
And really, if you're Emerald, you just got to chalk that one up. Okay, Slacky, went 58 and 20 EK. How often do you see that? Not very. It's an abnormality at best, an anomaly, but still, he's able to get it done. And Ole Miss showing up map 1, showing they want to take the first series off Emerald. And how much of a confidence booster shift would it be for Ole Miss to be the first team to take, a series off Emerald going on into the winners finals on Thursday?
Against another team that hasn't lost in recent memory in Humbert. Could you imagine? But they obviously have to get over this obstacle first. Meanwhile, I want to give you guys updates on what's happening across the rest of the playoffs at the moment. GCU, Grand Canyon University, is taking on The Ohio State University. As we think back, it was a 2-0 lead in maps to Grand Canyon after a dominating 250 to 165 in the hard point and then eking out the 6-4 on the search. Ohio State has bounced back into control, taking it 3-1. Meanwhile, down in the Toronto-Rutgers set, it started off in favor of Toronto very decidedly at 250 to 78 hardpoint. Rutgers is able to find the search and destroy at a 6-1. The winner of that match waiting for going up against Cincinnati. So a lot of back and forth in the other matches happening so far around the playoffs, but we'll be sticking with this one here, the Ole Miss versus Emerald set, and we've got a good one on our hands.
Yeah, if the rest of these maps are like that first one, I'm down. I'm down for Game 5.
We'll see if we get there. This is one of the best map mode combinations here for the Emerald squad. Again, healing out of Florida State. This Arsenal Search and Destroy. They are 7-0. It looks like we will have a false start on the first iteration, so we'll send things back over to us for a quick moment. But yeah, just hitting on this really quickly again for Emerald, they're perfect on this map. They play it a lot. For the side of Ole Miss, not the worst case ever for them to be at, because Poner does have a very strong KD, as we talked about at the beginning of the broadcast, across every map mode combination, but here especially he holds a 1.98 in the Search and Destroy. It's very impressive. So again, Ole Miss, if they could find a way to go up 2-0, that would put, like you mentioned previously, Florida State has rarely been in a position where they're down in maps, let alone a 2-map differential. You force Emerald to have to pull up a reverse sweep, and I don't know if they have it in the tank, because this Ole Miss squad is very good.
And I think the one thing to note is Emerald really hasn't been tested too much so far. 23-0, it doesn't happen by accident. But Ole Miss is a whole different beast than a lot of the other teams they played. Liberty Red, probably their first test sends them to their first game 5, or their second game 5. Liberty Red, the only
first and second.
Yeah, first and second. Yeah, I was right, just in the wrong order in that case. But Ole Miss just seems to be on fire right now. If Slacky is shooting like he was that first map, you're in for a long series, Emerald. That's all I got to say.
Another little update popping up as we're talking here. Rutgers in the control, able to take out Toronto at a 3-1 stat line there. So again, it's been a very decided map back and forth between these two teams. They'll be heading to a second hard point. That was a very quick control too. It wasn't too long ago that we got the Search and Destroy update. So Rutgers with the potential to upset Toronto. Again, this is a Rutgers team that lost 0-3 to South Carolina in their first round and had a very back and forth end of their regular season. But we'll dig back into this game as Ole Miss off the rip looks to be heading towards B.
Yeah, and in recent memory, we saw Ole Miss play this map against Ohio State. They ended up losing that one, I believe, 6-3. But here,
yeah, they did.
They're going to get the bomb down early. They're going to play a little bit of time in the 5-minute advantage. I say that, but Poner finds a nice pick on Nanolzi. Poner finds a second one. And then the two-man advantage is gone right away. But Physics playing a little bit aggressive. I'm not sure I agree with that shot. If he's able to turn and get the second one, he's unfortunately not able to do so. But still, Japo, the remaining man for Emerald, 2v1 for Ole Miss.
I love that play from Physics, just to dive on in. You know where their positions are for those defending ICRs. He's able to find one. He gets help for the trade for the second. Japo now has been completely snipped out, and with the Sogmatics, he could potentially make something happen here, but he's getting peeled apart by Slacky, who will just very wisely back up. Armstrong able to peek him from the side, and Ole Miss find themselves the first round. Again, just going to hit it one more time. Emerald has been perfect on this map, but it hasn't been super convincing. They only hold a 66% round win rate here, so those games usually finish in 6-4 fashion, or around that's at least the average.
This is going to be a wild Search and Destroy. If Ole Miss plays it, just a little bit better than they did on Thursday, or last Thursday against Ohio State, I don't know what else to say about this matchup so far. It's definitely delivered. That first map was definitely there, all the passion, all the Slacky. And it looks like Emerald going to be heading towards the B site.
Opening shots from Nolzy will tag him, as Poner had no interest in actually fighting that. Just gets the information, backs up. Just beyond him is Armstrong holding on that little sniper platform. Little Physics also trying to come back through. It looks like it would just be Poner throwing a cluster to slow things down. This is a full rotation for Ole Miss. Have they read this completely? Slacky's the only player even leaning towards A. Looks like after all this push and presence, Emerald will back up and move to the opposite side of the map. But look at this. Slacky already reading this. Based on the timing, we'll be setting up aggressively. He can shut this down. He sees information on one.
I did not know you were able to jump up like that. That's a nice angle right there out of Slacky.
Sure
I have not seen this one before. He's going to spot a second one. He's going to hop down from his little perch there. That is the bomb down. That's...
I think he's seen it, too. On the flank, Poner trying to come from behind. Meanwhile, up front, there are a couple of players. Another kill coming in. Now, Poner from behind will have two in front of him. Nice patience. Oh, not quite able to find the last bullet needed. So all of a sudden, 3-on-3. And Emerald have the opportunity to put the bomb down simply due to the positioning of Ole Miss. You still have Armstrong all the way over by B. Crimson able to find one more by the other side of the vent. So now it's a 2-on-3 situation. Poner had an opportunity, but he sees it fall just to the wayside. I don't think he saw Nolzy, but those shots will give him the information. Armstrong does fall. 3-on-1. Crimson able to fight back, and nice little reconciliation there for Emerald, as they were in a really tough spot for a moment, but able to fight their way out of it.
And you think, if Poner on that flank is able to find that one, this round goes entirely differently. But just unfortunately, the player gets around the corner just a little bit too fast, isn't able to find the final bullet, and Emerald able to clutch up and win that round.
So now, Ole Miss will be on the offense. And, well, we've seen a lot of offensive success so far. Different from the last time we saw this map where it was all defense. This time it's all offense. And a couple players still looking for their first kills for Emerald. Nosey will wait another round for it as Poner absolutely destroys him on that little railing area. So now it will force the rotation for Emerald. Again, a lot of players will be right here on top of the site. Poner does have a cluster. He could gain some space. Sees information on one, and there goes that cluster. I think it just got over the alleyway, and that's really nicely played. Sammy had no chance but to peek it. Immediately taken down. Bomb gets planted. 5-on-3 continues here for Ole Miss's offense.
And there isn't a flank coming in, so if you're Ole Miss, just be watching the front. There is going to be one player watching the flank, but it really isn't going to matter in this instance. The 2v5, nearly impossible for Emerald at this point. You know, Joppo and Crimson, they've done insane stuff before, but it looks like they're just going to try to get off the map.
Smart. And they will dive in sequence of one another. Ole Miss able to find another offensive win. Up now 2-1. And again, just as a reminder, I know a lot of people have been watching CWL players, scrims and stuff like that, but just merits repeating the fact that we rarely see specialist weaponry now due to the change in not charging the weaponry over time. So a lot of those utilities and tools that are used for big comebacks are completely eliminated with that change. So if you find yourself a significant lead, you find yourself with a lot of rounds that you could potentially play around with and do something different. Ole Miss currently just enjoying that one-round differential, though.
Yeah, and right now, Emerald, Nolsey, and Joppo need to pick it up, but combined 0-5 in this search and destroy so far. If you're Emerald, the way that first hardpoint went, and the way Slacky's been shooting,
yeah,
you don't want to go into that control down 0-2. That's just something you do not want to do.
Slacky finding some shots from overhead. Nolsey trying to contest with him. Two players over the middle for Emerald are pushing through. Physics, though, trying to push them back. Cluster nade able to get utilized, but not going to push forward through it. So it is Emerald just essentially putting on the pressure, but not fully committing. Now there are two players through the lobby. Crimson finding one kill. Ole Miss has to respond to this. And with Slacky down, again, that's your big gun, but now Strong and Poner, oh my goodness, Strong able to find himself 2. 3 for the round currently, or 3 in a row, pardon me, is Poner. It's just Zolty for the 1-on-2. He finds himself 2, but has to reload here very soon. Will slide all the way across, up and close and personal. Looking for the beatdown are both players. Zolty not quite able to turn in time, and Strong will find himself a very strong round. Ole Miss now up 3-1.
That was a weird gunfight nonetheless. Strong able to come out on top of that one. Strong right here is able to find an ice 2. You know, an ICR close range like that. I'm not really sure why Sammy K is sliding out with his fists out, but either way, Ole Miss gets it done.
Now as we go into our next round, again, Poner and Strong, I think still both of them holding on to score streaks, or kill streaks rather. Flocky getting shut down that last round, still at a 4-2 total, and you look at Nolsey and Joppo, still have not found a full kill yet. Something needs to change here for Emerald. Concussion comes out towards A. It was a full B hold essentially for Emerald. The only player here is Crimson. He'll find some information. Bomb is getting planted. At least it should be getting planted. Now it is.
And there's
nothing flanking either.
Yeah, absolutely no flank coming in, which is huge for Ole Miss. Their backs are safe. They don't know it yet, but still, that's wow. Slacky Mensa.
No way.
Yeah, there's no way. Emerald right now just not finding any opening picks. There's no way they're able to break back into this bomb site. Slacky picking up where he left off, 6-2, and he's going to go for a little bit of challenge. Zolty finds a hill. Zolty finds a double to bring us back to a 2v2, but Mensa luckily able to trade him out. They know where Joppo is. Poner going to take him out. That round got a little scary, but able to close it out for Ole Miss.
The fact that Zolty was able to find 2 just head peeking from those back stairs is actually silly. There's no reason he should even be allowed to do it, but here is that play. We'll see it once again. Nice shots from Zolty, but again, nobody was contesting from the right. He had his teammate poking from the lobby and then looking for the third, not quite able to train in his aim, but gave himself an opportunity. But now you take a look at what matters most, which is the scoreboard, and it's a 3-round differential for Ole Miss. 4-1 the score. And again, you're looking at Nolsey still without a full kill. And, that needs to change. Something needs to go here, and it looks like it will be a full flood till B.
And Shift, you said Emerald was perfect on this map, I believe. It's not looking so perfect right now.
Well, it's always tough to use the stats for Emerald because, again, being undefeated, obviously every stat line favors them.
Absolutely, especially with a team like Ole Miss who's just coming out with the fire.
Wow, Poner finding a lot of connections through the bomb, but the bomb still will actually get down. 5 on 3 with the bomb now for Emerald. And absolutely what is a much-needed round for them. Now 4 on 2s. Physics is able to trade away 1. Now a second as well. This is all from the flank. So if Ryan can make some noise from up front, it might opportunity for Physics to find a third, but he gets shut down. Sammy trading his aim onto the front. Emerald takes the round. 4-2.
Physics able to pick up this 2-piece on the flank. Don't know if he's able to pick up 2 as Nolsey still without a kill, and the one player trying to turn around. Physics, great little shoulder peek. Crimson misses a couple of shots.
Small update from the losers bracket. Grand Canyon able to finish off the Buckeyes from the Ohio State University. 250 to 164, so almost an exact same hardpoint stat line from the first one. GCU will move on to actually face the loser of this round.
And I believe that's a top 8 finish for Ohio State. Top 10.
Yes, it is.
Not the placement you're looking for there.
No. Especially considering this was a team throughout the 75% of the way done with the regular season. They were also undefeated through a lot of it. In this one here, though, Zolty able to find himself 2 as Ole Miss wanted to push desperately towards B. It was the disruptor native Nolsey that actually gave them all the information of where the push came from, which is why you saw the 4-man defensive setup. Both players that were left from Ole Miss will run outside the map and get taken down. So now 4-3. Emerald fighting back with 2 straight rounds.
I'm still thinking about Ohio State going out top 8 in this tournament. But, yeah, that's wild. Emerald able to make a little bit of a comeback right here. They're going to be 4-3 in the search and destroy. I might have called it just a little bit too early when Ole Miss was up 4-1. I asked if they were perfect, and I guess I might be biting my words here in a minute.
Again, remember, Emerald on this map typically, in an average fashion, win at 6-4. So, hesitate to speak it into existence, but could potentially be 4 rounds straight for Emerald here to find that stat line still intact. Physics will find a shoulder peek over the middle. Poner also here just open. I don't know if that's the angle you want to peek there, Physics. Not with a SOG. We'll at least get his teammate involved to get through those double doors. Emerald not committing to the lobby push as that pressure is there, so they'll just back out the window and head over towards B, where Armstrong will be the only player here, but through the vent, Poner able to find himself 1, so potential for a surround. Emerald has to keep that in mind. Shoulder peek comes through. Armstrong saw at least 1, maybe even the second. Looks like he's very content to sit here and not fully peek. A lot of damage found, but no kills. Physics is going to contest this one. Very well played for Ole Miss. Now they find themselves up 4 on 3.
Yeah, and I really like that plan of Physics, just knowing that they're going to try to plant the bomb. He's got somebody watching over him, so he can just aggressively challenge. Play Crimson, able to trade out Physics, and that little over-aggressive in Nolsey brings it down to 2v2. However, 12 seconds left. The bomb still has not been planted, and Poner going to throw the cluster to make sure it can't go down, and this round's over.
Yep. Nolsey needs to find both, and Mensa the entire time was just playing the whack-a-mole as he kept just dancing from left to right. Kept Emerald from fully being able to push on through, so now map point for Ole Miss. 5-3 we go, and Emerald will have to try to face things off here on defense.
And so far, Ole Miss's offense has looked pretty good so far. They had the rush towards that A site. They've looked pretty good holding this B site as well, so honestly, flip a coin for Emerald right now. You just got to make something happen. You got to bring it back. Going down 0-2, going into the Arsenal control. That's not where they want to be. I think that's the first time they've actually been in that situation where they would be down 0-2.
And look at this again. Ole Miss with a lot of rounds to play with. Will be pulling out the Paladin as Slacky will try to be sniping, I believe, over here towards B. Yeah, he will. And you have to figure by now, you know where Emerald is setting themselves up. And this is going to be a little bait and switch for the Paladin play as the shots came through for Poner. And now you'll sub out the angle as Slacky will hold that top corner. You might not expect this if you're Emerald. They have not been sniping lately. Okay, I think they've got at least some kind of an idea as that double peek was coming out for Sammy. Nope, trigger pulled, so maybe still a couple of question marks about it. And Sammy keeps peeking this, and he's got to know there's a Paladin here by now.
And look at number 3, Mensa. He's already pushed through the A bomb site. They know nothing is there. He's going to get a nice little flank. And look at Emerald. They're going for the rotation. They think Mensa is just trying to push out the back, while Ole Miss is going to be pushing towards this B bomb site. I say that as number 9, Crimson just doesn't know what to do. Physics Poner been able to chime in with a couple of kills of their own, and now they're in a 3v2.
And, yep, he's looking for a weapon, because I was going to say, I'm pretty sure he's not going to want to take shots at that Mozu, because the CCL here does adhere to the GA rules. But Zolti able to clean up 2. Now, all of a sudden, 5 playing up against the 4 rounds.
Ole Miss. This round theoretically should have gone in their favor. Mensa pushes through that A bomb site and forces 2 players to rotate away. Mensa unfortunately does go down, and they're unsure of where it's happening. Ole Miss just needs to hit that just a little bit quicker as they hesitated about 2 or 3 seconds, and it just gave Emerald enough time to get back.
Well, and Slacky, again, with that Paladin, really would have loved to have had a hard-scoped angle, but every time he unscoped was exactly when Sammy was peeking. Just repetitive moments of just bad timings for him. Emerald, though, looked to be flooding towards A. All 5 players are here, and Slacky has put away the Paladin, but Mensa doesn't care. The ICR is still good at that range. He also has a Disruptor Nade if he wants to use it for the information. There it goes. You will find at least 1 with that. Again, the AoE on that Disruptor Nade is so big, it's essentially just a scouting tool. Owner able to find 1 with a cluster. 5-on-2 situation as Physics able to help out. 1 from the window side. Physics with another. Just a 5-on-1. Nosey will find 1 himself, but he's got a lot to deal with. And he's going to be caught mid-reload potentially here. He's able to scope in to find 1 more. Physics gets taken down. This would be an absolutely magical comeback. Armstrong locked in, and he won't miss that. Ole Miss will take it. Score of 6-4. And now up 2-0 against, again, what a lot of people would consider to be the favorites, because they are undefeated in Emerald, but now, in the first time this season, they find themselves down by 2 maps.
Ole Miss just looks totally different than they did that Thursday night. They came out, they performed right away. You know, maybe Physics didn't have the best first map, but still, this team is just firing on all cylinders, and then going into this control with probably the most confidence they've had the entire season. They're a scary team at this moment. And Emerald, you know, backs against the wall the first time this season, on the verge of losing your first series at a pretty convincing 3-0. I don't know what else to say for Emerald. You just got to get something going, because whatever's been happening tonight definitely hasn't. You know, Joppo hasn't had his best series so far. You know, Joppo, one of those players on Emerald that everybody's looking out for with that solid gameplay. Only 5 and 8 in that search and destroy, just not enough. And, you know, Zolti, 2,400 damage, trying to do it, but it's not enough when Poner's dropping 3k damage.
Yeah, that's pretty nutty. For a search and destroy, that's pretty nutty. But here's the good news for Emerald. Ole Miss has not been good at control so far in the playoffs, losing 3-0 to Butler and 3-0 to Toronto. Even though Emerald lost their only control they've played so far, a 3-2 to Liberty Red. You still, again, if you're Ole Miss, this is not your best mode in the world. So if you were to make a reverse sweep happen, obviously it would have to happen here, but you could very dramatically swing the momentum back in your favor, just essentially reset your mindset. If you can come out and find a 3-0 on the Arsenal control, which will be coming up next, you might have a chance to start to wring things back. And again, Arsenal Hardpoint, another map where CCL Emerald has been very good in the past. So if there were potential to do the reverse sweep, these are the correct maps to at least get that going for map 3 and map 4. It just comes down to what would happen if we do get to map 5. Speaking of map 5, we will just give you guys an update. As again, we had reported that GCU was able to beat Ohio State in map 4 on the hardpoint. Toronto and Rutgers going to map 5 in their set in losers round 1, as Toronto was able to take the second hardpoint at a tune of 250 to 153. But again, just reminding you back to the first search and destroy, Rutgers was all over Toronto at a 6-1 scoreline. So That one will be heading to a map 5, and I believe has already started. We'll try to go ahead and give you guys the update when that comes through in real time. But, well, we might be finding ourselves to an early exit to the evening if CCL Emerald falls to a 3-0 here. I believe this is our last match scheduled to play out tonight. I don't think Cincinnati will be playing their game versus the winner of Toronto and Rutgers tonight. Could be wrong there, but that would be the only other match that is scheduled to happen this evening.
I believe that match, Cincinnati has reached out to both teams, and I believe that will be happening tomorrow. So
there you go.
Looking forward to that one as well. You know, Cincinnati been one of those teams that has honestly shocked me. They came out of the play-in. They just played phenomenal. They took out LU Red in the losers bracket 3-0. The LU Red that almost beat Emerald, that 3-2 scoreline unfortunately did lose, but Cincinnati, I don't know what's gotten into them these past couple of weeks because they're just playing out of their minds.
Well, I know people at LU Red would be upset if I didn't at least bring up the fact that they were without their 5th player for some time because he went to take a nap and woke up absolutely cold by the sound of it. But regardless, you're right. The Cincinnati team has cleaned up a lot in the last part of the season, so there's potential for upsets there. As again, we're already looking at a potential upset with Rutgers going to map 5 with Toronto. Again, a number 1 seed coming into this, and I believe the 2 times they played during the regular season in the Northeastern Division, Toronto handled them no problem. So definitely a little bit of a research here for the Scarlet Knight squad. But again, we'll see what happens with that one as they are, I again, believe they just started their map 5 coming into play. I'll try to keep you guys updated on that one. But for this one, Emerald with their backs up against the wall for the first time in the regular season and playoffs combined. Really, I mean, it was very back and forth for Emerald. They were down 2-1 against Liberty Red before they had the straight 2 maps in map 4 and map 5. But here, this is the first time they found themselves looking to reverse sweep. And honestly, Ole Miss has been able to go not only toe for toe with Emerald, but they've found themselves on top of a lot of different situations.
Ole Miss 1 map away from defeating the previously undefeated Emerald. Control has not looked so great for them in the past couple of weeks, but even then, the way they've been playing so far tonight's just been absolutely incredible. And with shots like that,
this first push is nullified.
Entirely.
It should be. And if you're sitting here as Zolty, you need to get out of dodge. He's got nowhere to go, though. Armstrong sitting from the backside will actually take down 2, and that's so much pressure on the map that Emerald has to deal with. You can see they're actually switching their focus back over towards A, which Slacky is happy to just spam this middle doorway. So now with that pressure, they say, let's not go into that ICR. Let's try to head over towards B. Concussion hit is actually well found here. But again, there's just too many guns trained into this rotation. At least Clay is able to find himself 1 before he falls. But again, there's just not numbers here for Emerald. They do have 2 players, but the respawns are coming out for Ole Miss. And it looks like there is a little bit of a split hit here. Is 1 player from Emerald, that's Crimson, holding the back. ICR is good off the respawn here for Poner and Mensa. There's a lot of ICRs in hand here for Ole Miss, and they're pushing back very, very considerably. A 5-life lead is what they're enjoying here with only 30 seconds to play with.
Even though it's, now a 6-life lead, it seems like Ole Miss just been way more dominant than even the 6-life lead. It just seems like every push that Emerald tries to go for, it gets shut down almost immediately.
I love this play from Ole Miss just to get aggressive as soon as you have an advantage, just letting Emerald not get comfortable ever. I'm trying to combine ever with Emerald there. Emerald will find some success here towards A as Joppo's able to clean up Mensa, so they will dive in. And Physics wants to contest this, though. He finds himself 1. Crimson in a little bit of trouble. Will just hold on the trigger, and Poner will walk right into the bullets. So there will be some success here at A, and there's only a 1-life lead. So with only 11 seconds left, if you're Ole Miss, do you possibly contest this? It looks like they're just going to surround for the potential exits, and I like this call a lot, as Emerald will have a really tough situation trying to get out of this inner middle hill.
Yeah, and right now the only way that they can go is back to their spawn. It looks like 3 of those players are going to be doing that. The one place Ole Miss doesn't really have any sort of pressure, and it looks like they got the go call. Poner going to push them through this lobby door, only able to find 1, but still that's huge to give themselves at least a 1-man advantage. And Slack, he's got his work cut out from his 3 players are going to be swarming the front of this B point.
Slacky will find information on 1. But he's got to be careful because there's a player nearby. A nice cluster grenade being tossed out. Might give him the info. Joppo able to find him. Armstrong now trying to take over the reins, and Emerald's found some success here. And no kills really whatsoever coming out for Ole Miss. So now they can flood this. Find 1 tick of progress, no problem. Physics from behind will be a distraction, and this is actually really big. As Knowlesy's got nowhere to go, taking damage from every angle, allowing Ole Miss to come back and fight through. But Sammy comes from behind. Meanwhile, Armstrong up front He's got no weapon in hand. Needs to pick one up or something. 2 ticks of progress. Contesting the third, but it's a 7-on-5. Emerald with the numbers. Poner needs to play out his life as Slacky finds himself one. They will contest one more time. 6-on-4. Not over yet as Poner finds another. 4-on-4 as Slacky helps out. Still contesting as Crimson. He's got no way to back out or wait for his team. 3-on-3, and the zone will be depleted. 35 seconds to play. If you're Emerald, take your time. Find yourself another pick and give yourself an advantage.
Yeah, and Mensa just locking it down with his ICR. One player's been pushing through lobby, and Mensa, he might get some... Or actually, excuse me, that's going to be the Venter, and Mensa might get caught out if he isn't careful. He's going to check Vent. He isn't able to find it. It's all into Slacky, the hero from map number 1. He knows there's one to his right. He's going to try to just pre-aim it. Not able to get the kill, and Emerald going to find the first round of this control.
Big wins there from Emerald late. It did not look good at all for them, but Ole Miss crumbles in the late portions of, I guess we would say, the first half of that round, as they only had 11 seconds left to contest or find the challenge on a capture point, and they found the success at A. And now we look at a 1-0 lead for Emerald, again fighting back throughout the entirety of that round. Really good setups and, of course, good gun wins near the end. You kind of are on edge a little bit after how the first portion of that round went. Ole Miss ICR is definitely trained in here.
Yeah, and we look at Slacky, right? That first map, absolutely insane. Only starting out the control 4 and 7. Definitely need him to, pick it up. Him and Mensa, although Mensa did get a couple of big kills, and so far. I call Slacky out. He's able to pick up a 2-piece, a third one being his teammate, but it doesn't really matter because it looks like this A point is going to be Ole Miss's.
What a tough position to be put in, because if you're Emerald, you have to contest the pillar-to-pillar fight, but you contest it and get absolutely melted, and that absolutely allows Ole Miss to storm on in for free. So that's a very early capture at A. 2 minutes and change to play with. Not the best setup ever for the exit kills, as Sammy wanted to get into the window, but gets punished for his transgressions, as Physics was able to double peek it. So a 5-life lead for Ole Miss, only having lost 1 player this round. And they're setting themselves up for a nice little coordinated push here for B.
And the one thing that Ole Miss has right now is time. They have so much time on their hands to try to set something up here. They've only lost 2 lives so far this round.
But that kill from Joppa will slow things down. 30 seconds have transpired since that connection at A went through. And Ole Miss just very timid to move through. Now peeking from the vent is Poner. Slacky unfortunately takes down a teammate, but Mensa's able to trade it back, so still 4-on-4. Slacky with another. Only having lost 3 lives so far is Ole Miss. Again, very patient with this approach. Mensa will get onto the point to at least contest for now. It will stall the clock, and it lets the respawns come on in. Ole Miss will flood in, and they'll find themselves an 8-life lead. Joppa able to trade away 2 from the lobby. Physics wants to contest it, will think the better of it because he does not have the advantage. We'll take another look, but he needs to find the last couple shots, and somehow the hipfire does connect. Mensa still up top, will find himself one. 2 ticks of progress are here. Trades are going the way of Ole Miss, and now all of a sudden, win condition is involved, as I don't know if anyone's going to be able to touch in time from Emerald. No, sure won't.
Not even close. Ole Miss just come out the gates. They capture both points, fairly quick. How much time do you think they had left on the clock? I couldn't even tell. It seemed like they had almost a minute at one point.
Yeah, I think a little over still, yeah.
That's probably the fastest round of control I think I've ever seen in a CCL match. Although
this play from Joppa was good, but it wasn't enough. Again, these last couple bullets, able to find that little hip fire, but he would have loved to have win out one more there just to make sure that Emerald off the respawn could contest. But Ole Miss, you look at Mensa with streaks. They also have specialists right around the corner, but so do Emerald, to be honest. Pretty even economy for both teams in the specialist weaponry.
Neither of these teams going to have the coveted grab slam yet for this opening pick, but Poner picking up where he left off. You just can't. You just can't, yeah.
No.
I mean, what else do you say?
Again, yeah, what else do you have? You don't have an option. You have to fight it. Nice info for Poner here as he peeks over to the cafe, and then we'll back up as he saw too many green avatars on his screen for his liking.
Just waiting to see what Emerald's going to do. They're playing it relatively patient. I think they're waiting to see where Ole Miss is going to, play a little bit aggressive and make a little bit of a mistake. Slacky going to challenge that flower heady, just making sure that something is going to be held, and Mensa going to call in the Hellstorm. It's going to pick up a 2, and that's just information. Yeah. Mensa almost finds the 3rd on the Sammy K, but not enough there.
Some contest happening here at A. Sammy able to find himself 1, but he'll have to deal with 2 more with no support behind him. Now we're underneath the 30-second mark, and again, where do you even contest? That was my fear for Emerald, is if you can't go into A, you have to go over to B, but Mensa with streaks will punish. Poner's also working towards some of his own, and if he's able to pick up a lightning strike, that's going to be a really big obstacle to hurdle over. Oh, he doesn't quite finish off the kill, though. He will not earn himself the streaks here. Emerald will be able to dive on in with 2 seconds left, and they are finding some success here at B. Sammy finding 2 kills over the middle, might be able to actually off the respawn head towards A. So if you're Joppa, you just need to stay alive because Emerald needs to hit towards A here, but they're getting shut down again. No time for them to get back onto point. And that was a much more convincing defense there for Ole Miss. They find themselves up 2-1, still with streaks and specialists to use going in to round 4.
Ole Miss seems like after that first round, they know that first round should have been theirs, and they let it slip away from them. These past 2 rounds have just been, you know, pure finesse, to be honest. The offensive round, they captured both points in, you know, almost record time. Mensa picks up some streaks and uses them on the defensive round to push it in their favor, and Ole Miss 1 round away from snapping Emerald's 25-game win streak. That's crazy to think about.
At a 3-0 tune, by the way. That would be insane. Nolzy and Zolty not quite able to get things going. Tempest is out and in play. TAC 5 as well. Slacky trying to make a play with the ICR now. We'll just keep delaying for as long as possible. The last player off the respawn is Little Physics. He will watch the flank. So there is progress starting to occur here at B. There is still a lightning strike, but looks like they're going to save that for the potential defense if that even happens, because Emerald is giving this up. But look at their setup here, J-Pros. There's 4 players sitting by the back stairs as if they were trying to flood, and they get completely melted down. And now there's no pressure besides Sammy here at A, which allows Ole Miss to just dive right on in. Sammy's got no chance. And now there are 4 players from the Rebels here to capture at A. And with the War Machine locking down the front door, this might just be it. Hellstorm's going to get used. There's no way you can come out of spawn.
It's over. It's over. Ole Miss have snapped CCL Emerald's 25-game win streak. There's no way they get back. That's it. They know it. They know it's over. It's over.
Wow. Full tilt potentially here for Emerald. Sammy leaves the game before it's over, completely at least. What a dominating performance from Ole Miss across the board. Again, they did not look great. Important to note, in the control previously, but here, they're all over Emerald, and again, like you mentioned, the undefeated team out of Tallahassee, mostly including players from Florida State and Tallahassee Community College. Wow, what a shutdown.
I'm speechless right now. Emerald, I expected so much more from them that series. I expected, you know, at least a Game 4, Game 5. Ole Miss just comes out with the fire and wild. That Hacienda hardpoint was incredibly close. The Arsenal also close, but that control just, it didn't seem that close at all. You know, let's look at the stats here for a second. And 2 of the players have left, so I can't really look at them. But still, Mensa 3175 damage, 22-9. We talk about the Slacky Poner duo, right? But you know, a little bit earlier I said when I was talking with Physics that he said that if Mensa was able to slay, that they were going to just roll through. And Mensa, the entire series, you know, was close to even. In this one, he's, you know, a 2.0 KD plus. Absolutely wild.
Here's my biggest question. And this is something that gets talked about across every esport and traditional sport with a team that's undefeated coming into a playoff scenario. How do you handle your first loss? And, well, with 2 players leaving the lobby before the game is completely over,
not well.
It doesn't seem like they're handling it all that well. And here's the even worse news, is that they will be going up against Grand Canyon University on the bottom side of the losers bracket, an opponent that, you know, after their 1-3 loss to South Carolina has handled the losers bracket, having beat Butler 3-0 and then handling Ohio State at a 3-1 scoreline. You have to regain if you're Emerald. You cannot let this be the thorn that puts your run to an aside here, because at the moment, Ole Miss is looking hot. Emerald looks completely triggered and tilted based on the losses after, or the levers after that loss before it even fully came through. And I have a big question mark about what this Emerald team is going to look like up against Grand Canyon. That will be happening in losers round 3. So it is scheduled to be off of the broadcast. It should be happening sometime before Thursday. Wow. We'll let you guys know in the Discord if anyone ends up streaming it from their own perspective, but that's not what you want to see. And meanwhile, other scores around the league, as Toronto and Rutgers were in that game 5, Toronto able to survive at a 6-4 scoreline, so their season will continue in their losers bracket run. Cincinnati will be the opponent that they face. That should also be happening sometime tomorrow, I believe. So we've got ourselves down to right around the top 8 teams left. Well, let's see here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 teams that are left. Wow. That was a heck of a day of broadcast coverage, I'll tell you that much.
I'm still speechless. I don't know what to say at that point. Emerald just I don't want to use the word flop, but it almost just kind of seemed like maybe more so Ole Miss just kind of steamrolled through. They played incredible the entire day. They played good this entire tournament, And what's really telling about this team, right? You talked about how teams handle loss, right? They lost to Ohio State last Thursday, 3 days before the playoff bracket even starts. Losing to a team that you'd previously beaten this season, that's got to be tough, mentally, as well as, what are we doing wrong with our game? At least, over-analyzing your own gameplay and your team's gameplay. But it doesn't seem like it's affected Ole Miss at all, as they've just been storming through this winner's bracket so far.
Yeah, that one hurts a lot, I would say, for Emerald as well, as they're going to have to, again, come back, compose themselves, and approach this GCU team with a much more solid mindset, because they looked I won't say lost throughout that set, but they definitely looked outmatched. And when their backs were against the wall, not only in the maps totals, but in the individual maps themselves, it just looked like Ole Miss was taking advantage of a little bit of uncoordination coming out of Emerald. So Humber will be going up against Ole Miss. That should be a great winners finals. That'll be one of the matches we have on Thursday. We'll also be bringing you guys out the losers round 4 and losers round 5. That's the semifinals technically, and finals. All the top 4 matches will be played out that day before we get to our grand finals next week on Tuesday. We've got ourselves quite a schedule of games still coming at you.
We really do have quite a schedule of games coming out. So many intense matchups so far, maybe for a little bit of different reasons. This one just being for the undefeated streak, the Toronto Rutgers game, who's going to continue on in that losers bracket. It's been a wild playoff run so far, and some of the best matches are still to come. Yeah,
100% the case. Again, though, we will be dealing with all those matches up on Thursday. That'll be our final game that we bring out for you guys this evening. If you enjoyed the coverage, make sure you follow the channel to get notifications when this channel does pop open live. All those rest of those broadcasts coming up on Thursday, as well as the following Tuesday, will start at 7 o'clock Eastern time. So make sure you're here ready to go to catch out the conclusion of Season 1, the Collegiate Call of Duty League. Until then, though, that's been J Pros. I've been I Hold Shift. Until next time, hope you all keep holding it down. So long.